You're listening to WXOJ-LP 103.3 FM Northampton, Valley Free Radio. This is Screaming for Change. Thank you for tuning in to Screaming for Change. You just heard Along for the Ride from Down to Nothing's 2007 LP, The Most, on Revelation Records. I'm John, your host, and today I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Michael IAMPIETRO. Our plan is to talk a little hardcore, play a little hardcore, because this is a radio show about hardcore. Michael played drums in Relics with our friends Therian Dolby on bass, Matt Swift on guitar, and originally with Megan Miner on vocals. He also played drums in Gift Horse, sang in Sobriety High, and played drums in Garbage Time. We toured a lot of the country together back in 2009 when I had a chance to roadie for Relics. Just before that tour, I had split-released the Relics LP, We Owe Ourselves This. It came out as a collaboration between myself and my Galambus Records label and Will Killingsworth and Clean Plate Records. If you've ever been on tour with people, you know it has the capability to make or break relationships. And well, we're still here, so I guess make defeated break. If I remember, I'll try to post some excerpts from my tour journal, which I transcribed to a zine a few years later, and maybe the Relics test press cover. Anyway, Michael, welcome to Screaming for Change. How are you and how's your edge?
I am great, and my edge is even better. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So, did I miss any musical endeavors in the intro, or did I pretty much get everything?
No, I think you nailed it. In fact, it was probably the greatest musical endeavor intro I've ever had.
Love to hear it. I want to really puff you up before I break you down for the rest of the episode. So, in today's episode, Michael is making me break one of the 4 rules of Screaming for Change. I always say that I only play the best hardcore, and I'm pretty sure that's not happening today. The theme the theme of today's episode was originally going to be bands John doesn't like, because Michael has really bad taste in hardcore. Today, Michael picked all of the tracks. In truth, this is it's more of an episode of bands I either used to not like or not get, and maybe never gave another chance, as well as a bunch of bands I've just never really listened to at all. Everyone doesn't have to have the same taste in music. It's fine. But on my own, I probably would have never played any of the bands on today's episode. Maybe he's going to try to convince me that these bands are good. We'll see. I also want to say that up front, I usually prepare my notes before the episode, and today I've got literally nothing aside from this intro and the interview questions. So I'm going to be listening to these songs, some of them for the first time, or at least for the first time in a long while. So per usual, we're going to start with our little mini interview. How you doing, Michael?
I am nervous now. After all these great words, I know it's just going to take a downhill turn quickly on the hostile takeover.
So my first question: what does Relics owe itself?
Honestly, is probably owing ourselves putting out that record because we thought we liked what we did. I would honestly talk a lot of trash about what we did in public, but honestly, I even to this day still enjoy what we did then.
Same.
So I feel like it was a lot of like, we owe it to ourselves to do this, to put it out, or ourselves some like hope in releasing the music that we liked, even though I know that we were not a favorite of many of the shows we played.
I mean, I remember one kid, I don't remember, you probably remember where it was, and he told us these affirming words that Relics was carrying the torch for American Screamo.
Oklahoma City. And that kid later got in a fight with someone in Soul Control, where he was hammered at a show and got in a fight. So we found out later on that he was notorious for the Oklahoma City scene. But yeah,
okay.
he said Relics and IAMPIETRO and other bands like that were carrying the torch for American Screamo.
Well, I don't think Relics is a Screamo band or ever was a Screamo band.
Thank you very much.
But Soul Control, maybe they just weren't Screamo enough for this dude, you know? All right, so yeah, awesome. Second question. How much punk do you like in your hardcore? Can hardcore exist outside of punk?
Ooh, I don't like much punk in my hardcore. It is admittedly difficult for hardcore to exist outside of punk a ton. I mean, there's plenty of hardcore I listen to that has a much heavier nu metal or like metalcore or aspects of that nature to it. But I mean, it is true that at its core, hardcore did originate from punk music. So having just a little bit, even if it might be in the attitude, maybe not sonically too much having punk in it, but for the most part, I don't want much punk in my hardcore.
Do you like the Trouble?
Not really.
Do you like the Pinkerton Thugs?
Not really.
Do you like Green Day?
I do. But if you want my hot take for the most part is that even bands like Minor Threat, who I like, are overrated. I feel that way only because bands, just because you did it first doesn't necessarily mean you did it best. And although I like Minor Threat, I feel like that 80s aspect, which I know is you're a big fan of, and many people are. I feel like most people in hardcore feel like it has to be the entry level to be like you have to be a fan of this to be a fan of hardcore. And like I don't even like Black Flag. I like Minor Threat, but even them, I'm just like, yeah, no, it's good. But I mean, it's a lot of tracks that sound similar, or have some songs I'm just like about. So that's my hottest take probably about punk music.
I was going to ask you what your like starter pack bands were, but I deleted that question. Maybe we'll circle back to that. So 2 more questions.
Yep.
Question 3. So we played in a band together, and then that band broke up. I honestly, my memory, if you talk to my wife, I have no memory, but my memory is maybe not always as best as it could be. So after Gift Horse broke up, you and literally every single person in that band, except for me, you guys started a new band without me, and to an outsider, that might seem really like a harsh course of action, and I need you to explain yourself. Should I be upset about this retroactively?
Yes, but not with ill intent at hand. It was honestly the Sobriety High was the brainchild of Timmy. Timmy like wanted to start a band with me as a front man. He almost inspired by No Warning, because No Warning is fronted by Ben Cook, noted short guy with a lot of energy as a front man. So Timmy saw me as a short guy with a lot of energy as a front man who probably thought he was tougher than he was. That goes hand in hand with me and Ben Cook. So Timmy kind of started with the idea of Sobriety High. Phil came up with the name of Sobriety High after a high school in Minnesota for kids that needed help with getting sober. And then, but it originally just started with me, Timmy, and Mike Benoit. Phil wasn't even in it because he, at the time, was right around then, I think, is when he went to like Israel and Palestine to like, he was working with a program. I think it was him, Mike Fiorentino went, and they were assisting with kids who have been affected by the war, which of course, this is over a decade ago and it still is a problem now, as we know. So he went over and was doing that. And when he came back, Gift Horse had already been broken up. And, we just mentioned it in passing to Phil, and then we needed a guitar player. So Phil was a natural add at that point, surprisingly.
Yeah. I mean, shout out, rest in peace to Phil.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So I feel a little bit bad. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, yeah, it was because it was whenever a band ends and you're not the one that's in it. When Relics broke up and Mean Man's Dream started, I didn't take it personally. I was the one who like left. I moved out of Western Mass or whatever. But then when they got O'Coin and Ryan to join, and they were even better than Relics, I was a big fan. But in my core, I was also like, man, I was the weak link. I should feel bad. But so whenever a band ends and you're not the one included, it is a little hard.
So Mean Man's Dream was just kind of Wasteland and Relics excluding members of Gift Horse.
Correct, yes. And on purpose, probably, too, those bastards.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay. My last question, honestly, you answered part of it, which is crazy because I don't feel like this past question and this one are related at all. But the last question is, what criteria do you think make for a top-notch vocalist or front person in a hardcore band? What are your what's your favorite, what are your go-tos? You see a band, they're doing X, Y, and Z, they look like X, Y, and Z, talk like, act like. What are your ideals here?
Ooh. That's a hard one because I feel like there's a variation. It depends on sonically what the band's like, the vibes of the band. But for the most part, I do enjoy an energetic frontman, someone who is actively engaging with the crowd, whether it be passing the mic or, in the realm of people like Scott Vogel or George from Blacklisted, saying quotes that you can then quote later on. And also, a lot of times it comes down to lyrically having words that punch really hard at a certain time that will get your energy level up. Even whether it's a lot of these bands have admittedly have very dumb lyrics at times, but at the moment that it matches with the music and what they say and what they do will get everyone to pop off, which always I think has an added element of enjoyment, some energy, some fun.
All right, cool. Interrogation over. Thank you, Michael.
My pleasure.
So let's see, where are we going with this? We're gonna move on in the playlist. So we started with Down to Nothing. I didn't say a lot about that. This is one of the bands that I just honestly have never really listened to. I know you've always loved this band. That track was great. I didn't take detailed notes or anything. It was the first song, so I wasn't really prepared, but that sounded good to me. That was good to my ear.
All right, I like that.
We're gonna bounce through a few tracks now. We're gonna move on to a little band called Guns Up! ! With the track Outlive.
You can never live. Some things are better left unsaid. Until I speak my mind, I'll feel dead. The world still won't listen to me. Here's what I see. You pose hard, show your scars. I never once questioned who you were, but that old routine is so tired to me. I won't glorify or make my mom cry. Hard times, barely getting by. But good at times, the most stupid aside. I never know what it's like. You wanna know about my life. A thought you can never live. My life. Some things are better left unsaid. Until I speak my mind, I'll feel dead. The world still won't listen to me. Here's what I see. How you can make me. Still here after all these years. I feel at ease around my peers. But there's a difference between them and me. I can't run away from my fears. Times have changed, times are strange. But I know I've seen no words. Someone must know how I feel. This is better days to baby to get me first.
Superhero. Sometimes you gotta steal on a superhero. Sometimes my urban side comes out.
I will not wait for you, and I'll never wait for you to be the person you promised to be. And now you'll never see. No, I'm better wrong. I am with nothing next to me. I'm better wrong. I am. And I'd rather hold the hands of loneliness. Thank you and your blood. Save me to be the life in my veins, to be the heartbeat in my steps. To have those nights I never slept, to get the wasted time back. To be the life in my veins, to be the heartbeat in my steps. To have those nights I never slept, to get my wasted time back. To get my wasted time back. I will rip it from your flesh, and I will rip it from your flesh. I will rip it from your flesh, and I will take what is mine. It seems you don't remember anything, but I remember everything, and I remember everything. I remember everything. I remember everything.
Okay, so you just heard the song Wasted by the band The Carrier. Before that was Dedicated to Babies Who Came Feet First. I assume that's the name of the song?
That is the name of the song, yeah.
Remembered that one. By Cold World. And then we started that block off with Outlive from the band Guns Up. So I don't know exactly how to go through this. Like, I don't want to be mean about anything, and maybe I have questions. If you can't answer them, that's fine. So I'll just go in order. I've tried to... All right, so to people listening, if you don't know Michael loves Cold World, like, loves them. Like, I can't even see this cover art or think about this band without immediately thinking about Michael. So... And we've been friends for a very long time. So I've tried to listen to this band so many times. It just it doesn't do it for me. The samples, I feel like, were the first part that I just cringed. Like, it just didn't. And also, disclaimer, I really like hip hop. I feel like sometimes on the show, I'm like, I've only listened to hardcore. That's the only thing. Like, I do listen to some other stuff outside of hardcore, and I definitely listen to a decent amount of rap. So... I don't know, that the samples, the singing voice didn't do it for me. I think about band like E-Town Concrete all of a sudden got really big recently, which I feel like I saw them play at like Hellfest in New Jersey. So like 2004, maybe.
That sounds right. Yeah.
And I don't know that anybody cared really when they played that.
Yeah, and I'm not a big E-Town Concrete fan, so that makes sense. But yeah,
but it was in Elizabeth, and I think Elizabeth is E-Town.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess it makes sense that they played that. But also I love Gridiron, and I love Pillars of Ivory, which is even like more Cold World than Cold World, I feel like. Have you listened to that much?
I haven't listened that much. I like a little bit, but it was not so much for me. It is, I mean, I will admit that Cold World's an acquired taste, I think. It's a little between the samples and I mean, that's George from Blacklisted singing on there, which I really enjoy a lot. But yeah, I would not say it's for most hardcore fans. And even if you like hip hop, it's not necessarily like you like the combination. I mean, there's many stuff that when you take a mashup of two genres and you put them together that I too am like, nope, I like those separate. I don't like those together. Even like for a long time, there was a trend in like late 2000s of taking pop punk bands and putting like yelling in it and whatnot. And I was like, no, I like those two things. I like pop punk, I like hardcore. Keep them separate, please. So I totally understand not being that into Cold World, but it's all for me. I mean, it's a lot of grooves, a lot of like, you know, palm muting, a lot of open guitar strumming with just hip hop based like lyrical placement. So it's very much for me.
I wish them the best. I'm not trying to be a total hater here.
No, that's the whole point of this episode. It's to upset you.
That I'm a hater.
Yeah. I mean, you looked upset as some of the songs are playing. Visually on John's face, he looked like it was painful at times.
I should maybe take some video of this episode. I forgot to talk about the Guns album. I honestly don't have a ton to say about that. I love gang vocals. There were gang vocals in it. The vocals sounded very No Warning. Maybe like Ill Blood era.
Yes, yeah.
No Warning. And the riffs are fine. If this came on, I'm not like telling you to shut it off, but I'm probably not reaching for it. And then the last one was The Carrier. I immediately, maybe even before the vocals kicked in, was thinking of Modern Life is War and Defeater. And you had said, as it was going, that this is like...
I describe this as like the pinnacle, not the best, that's a different argument, but the pinnacle of amazing core. I think it's the most amazing core-ish sound of all amazing core bands. It's all climbing octave chords and like pretty sounds, while at the same time like you have like an end of the world aspect feels always how I feel amazing core sounds. And it was certainly at the time of like Modern Life is War's peak popularity. I know that at the time, the main guitarist who I think wrote all the riffs was like a younger kid who even liked Our Friends in Wasteland a lot, which also had that same kind of, they weren't amazing core at all, but had that same Modern Life is War like feel at times of octave chords and some apocalyptic sound while also envisioning hope at the same time.
I recently learned that I thought that amazing core as terminology was universal and that like people knew what it was, and recently found that it's not. And when I had to describe it to somebody, I sounded really dumb. And the person who had never heard of it maybe is in a band that is that. So it was an interesting conversation. The only other note that I wrote for The Carrier, I think if I had heard this in like 2002, 2003, I would have really liked it. It reminded me of like that first Love Is Red record, like before The Hardest Fight, that's like, I don't know, the vocals are kind of raspy and like kind of tough guy, but also like super melodic. Like they're singing like,
Yes,
like
that like what people describe as almost adding some emotion to it, even though all of vocals can be emotion, but like a little emotion to it.
yeah. So that was fine. That was totally fine. This next one I know that I do not like at all, so I don't even know why I'm gonna play it. But we're going to move on to No Warning.
All right.
Which is a band that I like, to a record of theirs that I left the train for this one.
Might be the best one.
Or the train went off the tracks, and it's a lot of people's favorite. Here we go. No Warning, Back to Life. Off of...
Suffer Survive.
Oof. All right, so we just heard Stepping Stone from Angel Dust, Angel DU $T. Before that, we had Nowhere USA by the band Blacklisted, and we start off that block with Back to Life by No Warning. Tell me about why you picked these songs, how you picked these songs, either the songs or the bands or both. What's your methodology here, dude?
The bands are all bands that I really enjoy. The methodology with a lot of the songs was ones I felt like were a general representation of the band. You'll notice in a lot of them they're like the opening track on albums, which a lot of times I think bands are looking for to grab you, of course, in the first song and show you what they're like. They may not always be their best or their deepest track on how talented they are, skill level, but it certainly will highlight what they sound like. So that's how I chose track wise and band wise. I mean, they're all just great. They're the best, and I know you'd hate them.
So you think I have bad taste, is what you're saying?
No, because I know that in all honesty, this episode's great, but we do have crossover in plenty of music, especially like, late 90s, early 2000s of hardcore, I feel like is our biggest crossover. You like stuff earlier than that. I'm not so much as into it. And then as it continued to go on, I got even more into that kind of style of hardcore from mid 2000s or so. The worst named era of the aughts, which is just the worst sounding one, but the best of hardcore.
Yeah, where did aughts come from? I feel like I looked this up one time and it was so stupid that I didn't remember what it even said.
And I wish it was something else, but I don't know. I got nothing better, so I guess
that's fair.
I'm a fool.
So as we listen to that, I'll go in order, actually the correct order this time. So I have disliked this record. It's 20 years? Did it come out in 2004?
Ooh, that sounds about right. Yeah, I think so.
So 20-ish years I've disliked this record. I liked No Warning. I thought their first two things were great. I'm sure everybody who listens to hardcore has this experience sometimes when you get so excited about a new release. And then, especially in the pre-streaming era, usually you buy it. I didn't have to buy it because Musa had it. But usually you buy it, and then you go home and you listen to it, and it's just devastating.
Yeah.
Do you have any records like that you can think of? I have a few, and some of them I grew to like later. Like, another one for me is Bane, Give Blood, which I know for most people is like the ultimate Bane record. Like, I think most people, it's consensus that that's the best one, right?
Most people I come in contact with say the same thing. I don't agree with them either. I didn't like Give Blood when it came out. I was Holding This Moment kind of a person. That was my favorite. I was not into Give Blood that much, but it's not bad. But I would almost say it does happen in hardcore. When Righteous Jams had their second LP,
Business as Usual,
I got that and was like, that is incredibly disappointing. And I haven't even gone back to retry it. I feel like I've gone back more so with bands that are not hardcore related. Like The Anniversary had Designing of a Nervous Breakdown. And I have actually had this conversation with friends recently about how the album that came after that, which is like almost like a 60s rock album, I went back and I'm like, actually, I think I prefer this one over the emo genre of the first one. But with hardcore, it definitely happens. And then sometimes I feel like I've gone with almost an open mind. Blacklisted went on to have almost not a new metal sound, but like a much more singing record a couple albums after whatever we played. We played off a song off a Split, but like a couple of records later. And I really liked that one and came around to it, but I understood when people listened to it, they're like, this is not what I was expecting and this is not what I wanted.
You didn't go, not to just talk about the Anniversary, but you didn't go to that Anniversary show. Like, it was Anniversary, Get Up Kids, and...
No, and they're doing it again in February.
Was it the Vagrant 25, or was that... There was like, I think Newfound Glory played outside Palladium, and then that Get Up Kids show, and they were right after each other.
Yeah.
But the Anniversary... I was so excited to see the Anniversary, and they were awful.
Yeah, I saw a clip, and I was also like, "This sounds terrible."
I don't know. I guess
not to pick on them, but
but like when you come out of sort of a DIY like music scene, and I mean, I know the Anniversary was big or whatever, but I just can't. I can't with people acting like rock stars who come out of like hardcore and hardcore adjacent worlds.
Right.
That it's like, what's up? What's that?
Yes. No, it
like,
drives me
like,
nuts
bro,
too.
Do not. Like, nobody wants that. Just talk to us like human beings.
I would honestly say, going back to Newfound Glory, that is one of their better things. Is like, I mean, they still have to, like, they understand who they have to play to, but like, they never seemed like they were like, look at me, we're rock stars now, even though they continue to grow in popularity. Although someone told me recently that like the dudes from Knocked Loose have talked about how they adjust how they interact with the audience based on what they're doing. Like, they are somehow able to code switch where they'll be at like more of like, you know, even though they're huge now, but when they play smaller shows, they'd be more of like, you know, come up here, take this mic. And then at bigger shows, they do more of the like, what's up, enter city name, you know, let me hear you kind of a thing, which is really interesting. I don't know if I could do that. I feel like you lose, it seems disingenuous, even though I think they look like they seem like they're not disingenuous when they do it. They're just able to do it. I would not be able to.
Not to go back to pop punk and have people just shut the radio off, but the one thing that this reminded me of, which is it's intentionally a diss, but it's not really for me. The singing reminded me of Sum 41.
It's recorded by the same dude who recorded Sum 41. Isn't that amazing? You nailed that.
I love Sum 41. And so I wanted, but I feel like that's an insult, because I feel like most people think that band is dumb. And if you're in a hardcore band, you probably don't want to sound like Sum 41.
Probably not. But at the same time, the fact that they went and recorded with a dude, I mean, it's, you know, that Canadian connection where No Warning and Sum 41 are both Canadian. It's probably that connection, but I assume they probably wanted a little bit of that sound where it's like, hey, can you take this and make it like hardcore, but with a little bit of like that same vocal aspect to it? Because it's not like the dude from No Warning, like Ben Cook does not sing like that live ever. Not that I've seen. Like, he mostly just yells still. So
yeah, I saw some of the videos. They play like FYA or something. Yeah, it looked good.
Yeah.
The other one, so Blacklisted. So I know this is crazy. So there's two bands that I mix up all the time, and I know they don't sound like each other, but I've seen both of them a million times and never wanted to see either of them. It was just like they always played every show, Death Threat and Blacklisted. So I just mixed them up and never really like explored them. Like I probably know every word to Dead at Birth.
Yep.
But like, you know, I know that those are bands that people really, really like. The vocals on this are cool. They're very different. I know that that's like one of the draws to Blacklisted, that the vocals just don't really sound like anything else, which is cool. The riff seemed similar to like, oh, that sounds like bands I like or bands that I don't like. They're just, it just didn't super connect with me. That last breakdown was sick though. Yeah. And like that vocal pattern over the breakdown, that was great. So I didn't hate that. I didn't take any notes on Angel Dust. I don't know what to say about this band. I know you love this band. You're always like, listen to this record and listen to this record. And
the first like two or three I like. They've since gone into almost like a acoustic like singing band. It's very strange. Although the most recent record had like a little bit of like some singing and then some like hardcore. It was a very weird mix, but yeah, I like the earlier stuff. I
guess my struggle is I also don't love Trapped Under Ice, and I feel like and maybe you can, because you like this band. I feel like they get so much hype on like, you know, like Axe to Grind and Hard Lore and all these podcasts talk about how great this band is and how they changed hardcore and everything was da 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 da. Like, to me, that Stay Cold record, was that the EP or a demo?
That was the thing, as the EP.
I remember when that came out and I thought it was cool, but like kind of forgettable. Yep. And in my mind, I put them, they get filed with like bands like Youth Attack, or like just bands that kind of like had a record that like, oh, that was cool, and then like sort of moved on. And I never stopped listening to hardcore or like following hardcore, but it wasn't my experience that like that band was a huge deal. And it's crazy how different people can have such different experiences with this thing we call hardcore.
I feel similarly in that they were, I mean, overhyped sounds negative and mean, but it is strange because like I feel like those dudes in Axe to Grind are like similar age to us, or even a little bit older. And it's like one of those things that I did not understand when they kept saying things too, that like Trapped Under Ice is more influential than American Nightmare. And although we find American Nightmare to be influential because I know it's regionally based, you know, since we live in Massachusetts, but it was one of those things too that I didn't necessarily understand either. And like Trapped Under Ice, you know, when they were really starting to get big back when they first existed, I know that they were like being recorded by Chad from Newfound Glory, and like they were friends with them and whatnot, which I'm sure helped catapult them into popularity the same way that when we were younger, certain pop punk bands that were bigger, or emo bands or whatnot, would play with other hardcore bands that would maybe boost their popularity somewhat, and especially if they were a catchier hardcore band, which Trapped Under Ice is. But yeah, I don't understand the whole thing too of them being like they are the things that changed hardcore. And although on the flip side, I love Speed, which is a newer band that sounds like Trapped Under Ice, but I don't feel like every band that came after them sounded like them or was like, trying to copy their style. So I don't understand that claim either that Axe to Grind has or the internet has.
Yeah, I mean, my thing with Angel Dust, and I feel this way a lot about like if you kind of are able to use, and whatever, if I was in this situation, I would probably do the same thing. So I shouldn't be like a hypocrite, but it's like these people who like pivot to a different type of music and then just kind of package that new music as a hardcore band, and then kids still mosh and stage dive. And it's like Angel Dust and like the band the dude from Have Heart did. What's the band called?
Fiddlehead?
Yeah, Fiddlehead. Like, I think Fiddlehead's cool, and I would like them like regardless, but I don't know, something about that, about like the kids, including me. I'm not saying like young people. I know we're super old, but when you can trick people into thinking something's a hardcore band, when it's like, if we did a band that sounded like the Weaker Thans after being in like a really popular hardcore band, and we just like got our friends to stage dive and mosh, would people be like, oh yeah, John and Michael's new band, it's so hard?
I wonder how much of that is in the control of the bands though. Like with Fiddlehead, I assume that that's not in their control at all. I feel like a lot of kids see that's Pat Flynn and are like, Pat Flynn from Have Heart or Wolf Whistle or whatever hardcore band he was in, like since he was in a bunch, and almost have that wild reaction put together with the fact that Pat's always been a really good front man, where he is one of those people that's always engaged with the crowd and, letting them sing along and things like that. So I wonder if it's like, the onus is on the band or if it's more so on the fans.
Yo, I'm being a hater. Stage diving is sick. Whatever. Stage dive for Radiohead. This is killing the dream.
Let's go! let me let down. Eyes as bright as the sun, the wonder that they burn me. Give it all you got and waiting till you fucking down. Just like mine, and now I want my time back. Just like mine, and now I want my time back. North, golden entrance where I'm placing you right now. Keep driving from a meeting spot where we never met. Friends to the street, I'm sure will kill me out. You do too much of my time and my time is now wrapped up. You know you want nothing to do with this. Fuck that and fuck you and fuck everything. Want you to be such a fucking part. A fucking language I must be down. This will ever be paid. I will drag it by its feet.
Dude, guitar solo? Wild. Okay. So we just heard Another Look by Lights Out. Before that, Drag It by Its Feet by Frostbite. All feet stuff? Is it feet stuff and cold stuff? Is that the...
I've never thought about that. Maybe subliminally. Ooh, I can't say that word, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I think you nailed it, dude. And before that, what was it? Killing the Dream, Picking Up the Something.
Picking up the pieces.
Yeah, those are things you should pick up.
Yep. That and coins.
Anything about these before I give my quick notes here?
No, hit me with the quick notes.
So the quick notes are Killing the Dream. We were talking through that whole song. It felt like fine background music, but nothing stood out one way or the other because we weren't paying attention. So sorry,
it's okay.
People
it's also an amazing core-ish band.
Sorry, people from Killing the Dream. They were on Death Wish, right?
Ooh, I think so. I think all of their records were. Yeah.
Okay, and then after that, Frostbite. I don't know this band at all. Michael had said it's people from Cold World before Cold World, and that explains my comment about coldness and feet and. Whatever. What did I write for this one? I wrote nothing. We moshed. We were moshing.
In all honesty, yeah, we were two-stepping and moshing in the studio.
There was definitely some moshing happening, so I guess that is a testament to enjoying it at least a little bit. And then the last one was Lights Out. Honestly, the vocals didn't really do it for me. Michael was singing along. And it was way better with Michael singing along. And anybody who makes fun of post-hardcore, that's pretty sick. Because if you're post-hardcore, I'm pre-you. Is that... No? Is that
I don't. That sounds deeper than I think it might actually be, but I'm into it. That's fine.
Yeah, and there was like a 6 solo, so that was fine. Yeah, sorry about that block. I don't have a lot to say. We're gonna keep going because we don't have a ton of time left. Michael, you can introduce this because the band is called Razzle Dazzle, but the track is also called Razzle Dazzle, but just spelt dumb.
You got it.
Okay, here we go. Razzle Dazzle.
Walking with the streets, we handle the beat. Red the gun, the one gang debate. Cash like it's kid and dungeons. The black monsters, we get the rulers and the big motherfuckers. Walking with the streets, we handle the beat. Red the gun, the one gang debate. Cash like it's kid and dungeons. The black monsters, we get the rulers and the big motherfuckers. Still compete with Razzle Dazzle. Make a fucking sandwich. And still compete with Razzle Dazzle. Man, I just don't give a fuck. And if you don't know, well now you know.
So you just heard Beached by Shipwreck AD. I want to thank my guest, Michael, for driving all the way across this tiny state that we live in.
Not that long, yeah. Only took an hour and 20 minutes. Not a big deal.
To come hang out. So thank you for that, Michael. This is Screaming for Change. We're going to close out with a song that we both can agree on, and hopefully you can agree on too. Make sure you follow the Screaming for Change Radio Instagram account. Keep listening. This is Nerdy by Poison the Well.